Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus. I'm a different kind of victim. Today, we're going to be doing a topic based upon setting boundaries for myself, based upon the recent experience and the experiences before that. I didn't have many boundaries. I never really did. The only boundary that I did have after escaping that I had made was based upon the bullying incidents online, based upon how I was affected, and mainly due to Ken, as to what happened with that friendship and how it was, affected me negatively and how he turned on me and all that stuff put together. So the only boundaries that I was extremely strict about was people who interfered with relationships that were important to me and that had value to me. So my friend Nina had given me the suggestion to write down boundaries, as in friendships or even, partnerships in intimate relationships, for myself, as to what my boundaries are, what I won't tolerate, what I won't deal with. I really had a lot of trouble thinking of, okay, it's like, I was about to just say, tell Nina, can you just write it down for me and do it? I mean, it wasn't not something I can actually just for myself based on my personal experiences, and like I had, discussed conditioned normalized victimization syndrome. That's a part of this too, as for boundaries and really knowing what boundaries are important and necessary. And that also deals with that person and them personally. So nobody can really make out your boundaries for you. You actually have to figure out what boundaries are important in order to keep you in good mental health and well-being. So I've been thinking about it a lot, and actually, so I guess I could say that I learned a little bit more about what the recent situation that happened and putting it together with the other situations that I was going over, which was the online and also with my 3 alcoholics. So actually I did learn based upon the 3 of those bad things that happened to me put together as to where I came to now. It's a beginning, I'm not finished, but this is what I've come up so far based upon my friend Nina's idea about boundaries and writing them down as to what I feel is important to me as to keeping myself important and valuable, and knowing that I deserve to be treated with respect, and having boundaries is a part of that. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to be calling my own self out as to what I want as for making changes within myself to have better relationships with certain others in the future when and if I ever do have them. So I'm going to do an apology to the recent intimate partnership that I had as to where I see I went wrong. It's easy to call out others based upon what you see them doing wrong, but I'm going to sit right here and say what I did wrong within that relationship that was not good, that affected it negatively, that I myself want to make changes within myself so that in future relationships I don't do the same mistake. See, that's the difference between certain people. There's what me and my friend Karen were talking about was there's genuine apologies, or there's the BS apologies. Yeah, I'm sorry, whatever, And then the genuine apologies is when somebody actually feels bad that they had done harm to you and actually tries to change those behaviors and not do it again. So that takes the bigger person, as I've stated before, and that takes personal integrity. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read what I've written so far based upon the apology first. Then I'll go to what boundaries I've made for myself based upon the recent incident, and also, based upon past incidents, which would be my 3 Assaholics, then the online bullying incidents, and then the recent incident. Okay. Moving forward. Self-improvement. My last intimate relationship. I will work on changing. I apologize. To Grumpster. I am sorry that I made a mess in your kitchen on the first night that we had dinner at your place. I used your fryer to make chicken for us. I won't use the excuse that I was hungry, frustrated, and hurt by you for the ill actions I chose to do. You assumed that I would be okay having dinner at 11 at night when I get hungry for dinner long before that time for dinner. I was hurt because you offered to make me dinner, and I felt like you took back that offer that I thought was very sweet and was special to me. I remember that you called me up that night after I came back home, telling me that I am a slob because you ended up cleaning up after the mess I made from cooking in your kitchen. Although I'm always going to laugh about this incident because of your reaction to it. That's what happened is I ended up, the oil got all over from the fryer everywhere. So he was cleaning up for quite a while, the mess. And I know that's bad, but it wasn't that nice of me to, because I was really hungry and I was kind of, disappointed. I was looking forward to, he was, making me dinner for his, a special thing to me, it's like making me dinner. I was like, wow, how sweet, and I told him I was hungry, for hours. He's like, yeah, I'll do it soon, but he was just laying there watching TV, anyways. But it wasn't too nice of me to leave a mess like that. I can't help but laugh. I know that's bad, but I mean, I do apologize, and I'll try to make changes in the future. It's the reactions of people. See, I'm like my father. My dad's the same way. He laughs at people's responses, doing certain things. So that's where I get my sense of humor from. I'm sorry that I yelled at you when you got lost when we would take long rides together. My anxiety of getting lost and stuck with no one to save me is my fear, and you are not at fault for me having that fear. Honestly, taking joyrides with you is one of the most special memories I have of you, which is very true. The first things that, me and that person did the most was go on long rides in the car. And I just enjoyed it, just being with him, looking at the scenery with him and talking and stuff like that. It actually made me feel closer to that person. Although when we got lost, it was kind of scary because, I myself, don't have any, backup or people I know that could come get me if I got stuck somewhere. So of course I had the fear, and I also, I've had that even before, like even going for walks, let's just say I've gotten lost and people were kind of like shocked because I got lost pretty easily in, things that most people probably wouldn't get lost, and, going to certain places where I was at, and maybe like almost like, what? How'd you get lost? The place is like right across the street there. And I ended up getting lost for like 45 minutes walking around, but even then I'm like screaming and, I'm mad at myself for even getting lost. So believe me, so when I do it myself, which has happened many times, I'm like, that's just me. That's my anxiety. But again, see, it's my anxiety and my fear, and I shouldn't, put it out on somebody else, when they had no intentions of harming me that way and didn't realize it. You didn't realize how, my anxiety, how bad it was based upon that, since we were still just getting to know each other. Okay, now this one I'll be laughing at. I'm sorry that I accidentally kicked over your ashtray and didn't clean it up after. So what happened is that we had plans to go to the park with him, him, and two other people, and I had asked that this person to be ready on time, but they ended up making other plans for somebody else to come over for something else. After telling me, this is one thing that annoyed me the most, is that they knew about these plans for a while, like the day before or even a week. And then they stalled to be like, yeah, I'll be ready in a minute. 2 hours goes by. Oh, so, but still, I ended up just over getting extremely pissed, and from the frustration and the hurt based upon that person just not taking, my feelings into consideration based upon what they do. But then again, me, responding with, things I did, such as I was getting frustrated and I was on the couch, his couch, and I laid back like, oh, and my feet went up and on the counter that was in front of his couch, and I'm kicking the ashtray over. He wasn't in the room, but his reaction when he came in, he was walking in with his friend that came over, and he looked down on the table like, what the heck happened? And there's ashes all over the table. I was like, he's like, what the heck happened here? I was like, oh, it's like, because when I did it, I was like, I knew I kicked it over, but I was like, it's like, I'm disgusted with him because, he didn't even keep his promise to be ready, and I'm hungry, and, I was looking forward to spending time with him at the park, just being with him, and that was something, special to me, that I felt, that we'd spend time like that, and because I loved going to the park with him. That was, one of the first, that was like the first place that, besides the arcade, that we went to for our first date. So anyways, I was kind of irritated, so all I did was crack up laughing, because again, there's my sense of humor, just like my dad. I saw his faces, he made it, he was like, I was like, every time I think about that, I start cracking up, but he kind of got used to, me laughing about those things. At first he was like, what the heck? But that's just me. I have a very weird sense of humor. As my friend Karen put it, it's very different, my sense of humor. I was frustrated and hurt that you didn't go through with your promise to be ready to do something that I had looked forward to doing with you. Although I am always going to laugh about this incident because of your reaction to it. Very true. Okay, now I'm going to go to the boundaries. Whoosh. Shelley and Rothus, boundaries. Friends, I will not tolerate being treated as though I am not capable of making choices and decisions for myself based upon my situation. Just because I was basically held hostage for a large part of my life doesn't mean that I am unable or unintelligent. I need emotional support, confidence building to reach my goals. I don't need pity. I need empathy. Very true. I don't need people, assuming I don't know how to do things because of my situation. Even basic things like how to, act socially, how to get a job, how to look and present yourself for a job, how to be around people, even how to drive, this, that. It's like, I'm not a idiot, it's like I wasn't a hermit, so people also thinking that because of their age, that they're older than me, that they know more than me. Sure, they know a lot. Some, as you've seen, that these bullying gossip clans, the cult clans, a lot of them are real smart, if you know what I mean. I will not tolerate anyone trying to control me. Nobody is going to tell me what I can or can't do based upon what is my right to have a choice to do. Bossing me around to get your high of power and control is not happening with me. Asuka tried doing this by trying to tell me what I can and can't do when I was at Grumpster's place. Very true. I put something on the counter because his trash was full, so I couldn't put it in the trash, because it would have, overflowed anyways. So she actually, told me, put this in the trash. I told her, I said, don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. I basically told her off. Don't try to control me. So, she looked at me like, what? No, you're not the boss of me. Don't try to boss me around. That's one thing that I started doing after I escaped, is when people try to tell me what to do, when it's my choice and my right, and they don't have no right to tell me what to do, I'm going to tell them straight up, back the F off. Now, I will not change my expectation level of anyone who doesn't prove that they deserve it. Just being nice to me is not going to prove that you aren't going to do the same thing you did to hurt me. Just because I am nice to someone doesn't mean that I trust them. Very true. Many people always, go back to forgiveness. Forgive. Well, I was, discussing that even with my friend Karen, and, yes, you can give people another chance, and we were discussing this yesterday, and this is basically what I see now too. You can give somebody another chance. That's up to you. No matter what they did, no matter, what others think, like, why would you go back to them after they did this, that, or that? It's your own personal choice and how you feel. That person isn't you. You make that choice too, as to taking them back and whether or not you forgive them and how you feel about it. Exactly. It's what you feel and what you want to do. And also, there's the need and the want. Now, that's where, I admire Karen, is because, there's the need and then, the want. She wants this person back in her life. It gave her positive, fulfilling benefits that made her feel good. Now, that person had done something that really goes against boundaries that are personal to her, that ended up hurting her. So there's the want, but what does she need? See, what I've realized just thinking about is those feelings. That's where the condition normalized victimization syndrome comes in, and separating the two. Those, everybody can go through this. The feelings there of what you want and what you need, getting to where you need, that's where I had, commended her for, actually standing her grounds and saying, you know what, I'll give you another chance, but I need this in order for me to continue the relationship and stay in it. I'm giving you another chance, but I need this. If you can't give this, then I can't help you. You're gone. Even though she may want this. It's looking at what you need, because what's going to happen if you don't do what you need and you only go by what you want? I may want to make amends with Grumpster, but what do I need? I need change. I need change within myself to, to make things work. He needs to make changes. And if that's not going to happen, then what? I'm just going to go, exactly. It's not going to be beneficial to me or the other person. So I have to see, yes, this is what I want, but my feelings, I need to hold them out. Go away, feelings. I need that. That's what I've learned from my friend Karen as to the situation she's going through. Basically, even though it's two different, things that happened, like I had stated, Ken was really great at that with his words of wisdom. that they can apply to, many other things, not just what he gave you advice for at that time for that situation. That's basically what was going on with me and my friend Karen, is that our situations were different, but you know what? We basically helped each other as to how they were similar and what things we needed to do based upon our situation in order to get the best result that would be beneficial positively for ourselves and not just the other person. I will not tolerate anyone who would abandon me just because I am going through hard times. Most people make excuses and exceptions for people who do this, saying that they have issues such as depression and anxiety, but that is not an excuse to abandon someone who you claim to care about just because they are struggling with things that aren't their fault. Everyone has problems and deals with feelings of depression and anxiety throughout life. So that is not a good excuse for someone abandoning me or ending our relationship for circumstances that aren't even my fault. People have told me that my situation is stressing them out, and they need to distance themselves from me or even end our relationship. Well, that right there shows that they don't care about me and are actually causing me more harm due to the fact that they are blaming me for the situation that happened to me. It is not my fault for a situation that I had not caused to happen. I shouldn't be punished for what is not my fault. People that claimed to be my friend and said that they cared about me ended up telling me that they don't want to get in the middle of my situation. Well, I don't want to be stuck in a relationship with anyone who is blaming me for the situation, and also it is very selfish to abandon me during a time that someone who is real would be there for me. I heard that many times, people, say, well, maybe they just are, dealing with their own problems, and, they have, depression issues and they can't deal with their own, or, it's blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Everybody goes through depression, has anxiety, I've had that many times throughout my life. Everybody goes through it, so again, using, someone who has a mental illness as an excuse for, not being there for someone and not caring about others. Not an excuse, because there's many people who have the same mental illness that are there for others, that they say that they care about as friends. I don't see that as an excuse. That's like, the same as to me, to me would be that, somebody ghosting you or ignoring you or not responding to you for, weeks, or even a week or whatever, without even a little note saying, well, I'm busy and I'll get back to you, blah, blah, blah. It's the same lame excuse saying, well, I have a lot of problems going on, or that's going to stress me out. Same excuse as somebody that says, well, yeah, I haven't responded to you for a few weeks because I've been really busy. Not any different. Same lame excuse. And even people in the mental health field have given that same excuse for others, saying, well, maybe they're stressed out or they can't handle it. Some people, no, people are people. We all have the same capability as others when it comes to caring for others. So there's absolutely no excuse or exception for people choosing to have those types of behaviors and responses as to how they treat others. You have a choice. It's not some brain damage as to where you're not capable of treating others as though they are important and valuable and worth, being treated with respect and care. So this is pretty long, and I'm going to take a pause for this part. And this part is going to be boundaries. And I had even started off with making my apologies to one person based, even though they hurt me, I'm still going to be the bigger person and step up to things that I did wrong, that I apologize for in a genuine way. Boundaries. Wow, this is a really hard one for me because, like I said, in described condition normalized victimization syndrome, I really had to think hard when my friend Nina told me about boundaries and that I should write them out and really think about it. I was like, boundaries. I'm like, it was so hard to think of them. But I guess, like I said, this recent situation really helped me see what boundaries I need for myself personally. Like I said, they're your own personal boundaries that you make for yourself, not anybody else, because only you know what you need in order to be healthy and keep your mental health and well-being good and be positive. So I'll be finishing this up in another part, boundaries. I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. See you next time.